Hey guys, in this video I will talk to you about the different degrees that adjectives have. You see, an adjective is used in the positive degree to show that a quality exists on the noun. For example, the adjective good, if I say a good person, I simply show that the quality of goodness exists on that person. If I say angry dog, I am showing that the quality of anger exists in the dog. To show that two elements or two groups of elements, when I talk about elements, I refer to people, to objects, to places, etc., right? When these two elements have a quality, but I want to show that one element possesses the quality in a more marked manner than the other one, then I am going to use the comparative degree. The superlative degree is used when I want to show, for example, I have a group of 5 people who exhibit the same quality, but I want to pinpoint which of these people exhibits this quality to the highest degree. In that case, I use the superlative degree. The superlative degree is used when talking about more than 2 elements. Okay? You need to bear this in mind. I don't use the superlative when I talk about only 2 elements. And we gotta be very careful not to mix the comparative and the superlative degree, which is a common mistake for some people. Now, even though I told you that the comparative degree, that the positive degree, is used to show that the quality exists, it's important to know that I can also make comparisons with the positive degree. In order to make a comparison with the positive degree, I am going to help myself with the use of the prepositions as. So I have some examples for you right here. With the positive degree, Saul is just as hardworking as Johnny. Saul is just as hardworking as Johnny. That's a comparison of equality. I am showing that Saul is 90% hardworking and Johnny is also 90% hardworking. They are at the same level of hard work, right? Just as hardworking as Johnny. But if I want to show that one element exhibits the quality to a higher degree, or on the other hand, you can also say to a lower degree, then you are going to use the adverb not. And say, for example, Saul is not as hardworking as Johnny. I am not saying that Saul is not hardworking. I'm saying that Saul is maybe 75% hardworking, but Johnny is 90% hardworking. Yeah. So that's how we can make a comparison with the positive degree, by using the preposition as. But I can also use the more common way to make the comparison, which is with the comparative degree. We have 2 different kinds of comparisons with the comparative. We have the comparison of superiority and the comparison of inferiority. Martin is more committed to the cause than Jolene. Martin is committed and Jolene is committed as well, but one of them exhibits this quality to a higher degree. That is Martin. Martin is more committed. Maybe he's committed like 85% and Jolene is committed 75%. I can also transmit the same idea using the comparison of inferiority. This time I am not going to use more. This time I am going to use less. And I say this: Jolene is less committed to the cause than Martin. Jolene is less committed to the cause than Martin. It transmits the same idea, right? Jolene is maybe 75% committed, and Martin is committed 85% to the cause. And those are examples of comparisons with the positive degree and with the comparative degree. Now, you gotta bear in mind, guys, that there are a series of rules to make the comparisons. The comparative degree, excuse me. To make the comparative degree, we have a set of rules. We have a set of rules that you need to learn about. Well, not learn, you already know about this. You have studied this in other subjects. But if you have forgotten a couple of these rules, you would do well and do some research and get a refreshing idea on these rules, right? The general rule is the rule that applies to monosyllabic adjectives, which is using ER at the end of the adjective followed by than. Like in the case of the pan is hotter than the skillet. The pan is hotter than the skillet. And are you kidding? The table is not lighter than the chest. So here I am using a monosyllabic adjective, so I'm going to add ER at the end of the word, and then I use add. The same with the other case. Light, it's a monosyllabic word, then I add ER, lighter than. This rule, remember, applies also for adjectives ending in Y, at bisyllabic. I gotta say that, I gotta clarify that. For bisyllabic adjectives ending in Y, this rule applies as well. And so really there are different rules that you need to check. I won't explain this because again, I repeat, these are some pieces of information that you surely may know about this topic. Now, for polysyllabic adjectives, then I am going to use the word more. I am going to put the word more before the adjective, and then I am going to use the word than. Is Dracula more terrifying than Count Orlok? Bessie is more deceitful than Kevin. Canada is more attractive for tourists. Check right here in the last example with Canada, I am not using the second element for the comparison. That's also possible. Canada is more attractive for tourists, taking into consideration that I already established the comparison, right? So that's why I can do this. And let's talk about the superlative degree. As I told you, it shows that one element among many stands out. So there are many elements that have the same quality, but there's one that stands out above the rest. And in order to use the superlative, you need at least 3 elements. And there are similar rules to the comparative degree. In that there are rules for monosyllabic adjectives and bisyllabic adjectives, right? Here are some examples. Roque Dalton was the most outstanding figure in the compromised generation. In our country, we had this generation of poets and writers in El Salvador, right? That was really compromised with the social movement of that time. And the one figure that stood out the most from this generation was Roque Dalton. So I'm not saying that the others were not outstanding, but definitely Roque Dalton is the best well-known figure from that generation. Sophie was the most beautiful girl in the room. There were lots of beautiful girls, but the most beautiful one was Sophie. Luca was the shortest player in the team. So there may be other short players in the team, but Luca was definitely the shortest. Give me your strongest spirit. There might be other spirits, but the person wants the strongest one. Spirit in this case means alcohol, an alcoholic beverage, right? So those are the the comparative and the superlative degree of adjectives. Now I want to talk to you about some special cases. We have the case for later and latest, latter and last, elder and eldest, older and oldest, farther and further, nearest and next. Now, let's talk about later and later. Later and latest, and last and latter. When I talk about later and latest, that refers to time. They are adjectives that refer to time, and latter and last, they refer to position, to location, we could say. Check these sentences. Later evidence cleared Edmond Dantes's name. So it was evidence that came afterwards in time. Later evidence cleared Edmond Dantes's name. The latest news said nothing about Morena's case. And here we have another example, this time with latter. This, remember, is about positioning, about location. You can go with Maurice or with Rashid. But if you go with the latter, ask him to drop by Granny's. Now, check. You can go with Maurice or Rashid. But if you go with the latter, ask him to drop by Granny's. Who is the latter? Rashid. And Maurice, what would we call him? Would we call him, but if you go with the first? No, we don't say, but if you go with the first. You say, but if you go with the former. So if this sentence said, you can go with Maurice or with Rashid, but if you go with the former, ask him to drop by Granny's. The former would be Maurice. The latter is Rashid. Last time we paid for dinner. It's your turn now. So those are examples with later and latest, latter and last. Now let's talk about elder, eldest, older, and oldest. They are very similar, and I can use elder for people, especially for close family members. And by the way, I don't use the adjective elder or eldest predicatively. These adjectives are used attributively. In other words, they gotta be placed next to the word that they modify. And I say, my elder brother has landed a job with Google. Or, the eldest of her sisters was a reclusive woman. So I can use this with people, especially family members. But I can also use older. I could say my older brother or the older of her sisters. That's okay, there's no problem. But older and oldest, elder and eldest cannot be used with places. These cannot be used with things. For places or things, I gotta use older and oldest. So the oldest building will soon be demolished. The older child is losing his milk teeth. So you can see the child is losing his milk teeth. So I am using older child here because I can say that, right? Older child. In here, it wouldn't be a good idea to say the elder child. Yeah, maybe you could do it, but it's better to use elder and eldest, I repeat, with family members. I will continue explaining a couple of these special cases in the next video, guys.